In today's society, there's been much improvement in our fights towards equality. Back in the day, African Americans didn't have the rights as most people do today. For example, they weren't allowed to ride at the front of buses, they weren't able to get good jobs, they couldn't go to good schools, and they couldn't apply for high government positions. Well, today we have a black president, and that's one of our biggest efforts in our fight towards equality. However, this doesn't account for the fact that African Americans in our society are still being oppressed. So we went to talk to a few people to hear what their opinions are.
First of all, there's no biological difference in race. Race is a social construct that was backed up by science in the 19th century as a means of enforcing economic policy. And once you understand that about race, you understand that there's no differences between the races. In terms of genetics, we're absolutely similar. One of the ways racism plays out in our country is that people of color are highly racialized. Their identities are all based around the fact that they're Asian, black, Latino. But for white people, the part of their privilege is they never have to be conscious of themselves as racialized beings.
The truth about crime needs to be told, and we have to figure out a way to create significant alternatives to incarceration in this society. As an elected official, I am very concerned about all the misconceptions that exist about crime in the United States of America. For instance, every audience I speak to always says that black people commit more crimes than anybody else in our society. That's not true. Let me just take drug abuse or illicit use in our society. In 2006, Catherine Beckett, and a professor at the University of Washington, and others have done research that suggests that about 75% of the folks who use illicit or illegal drugs in King County are white. 75% of those that distribute it are white. Yet 68% of all the people in our county that go to jail for selling drugs or being in possession of drugs are African Americans or Africans, and that's just totally unjust.
And the only solution that our government seems to have come up with, if you can't employ the entire workforce, to incarcerate them seems to be our governmental and collective response. Coming to terms with that as a nation is going to be one of the big challenges. As the boomers age, our workforce will also age, and we can't afford to have anybody in prison to remain economically competitive. So it'll be interesting to see how policy changes over the course of the next 20 years.
I'm about to go all out on this one. Dear friends, this is the realest shit I ever wrote.